What's up, tubers? Tio here, Simplistic Fishing, back at you today for a final, hopefully final. We'll see how long it takes me to do the final lake breakdown for Lake Buchanan. That's right. If you guys missed the other videos, I will put them up at the top so you guys can see the links there and take them back. Go ahead and check those out. Those are the Google Earth videos that we've done so far. We started on the dam, worked our way east, and now we're working our way back down the west side. There's all kinds of good stuff on this lake, so stick around. I know you guys are going to like it. Let's go. Well, as I mentioned in the intro, if you missed the lake breakdowns before for Lake Buchanan, make sure to go check them out. We've already done 2 videos so far. And what I did was I started down here at the dam and I worked my way all the way up this east side. We covered all of that area over here on the east. We went all the way up the river. We came all the way back down this west side. And on the last video, we actually stopped right here at this Texas Park and Wildlife Fish Attractor number 15. So that's what we're going to focus in on today. And we're going to keep working our way south. See if we can finish it up on this video. If not, we'll do one more video. We'll see how we do here. What I'm doing right now is I'm actually drawing the date back. I'm going to pull this back to 2016. So September of 2016. Looks like it gives me a pretty good image here. Let's make sure this is the one I want. I think this is definitely the one that I want to get. So let's go ahead and get started. So right here off this point, now obviously this point looks totally different when the water's up, right? But when the water's down, look at all the stuff that we can find. It's crazy. So when we get off this point, right outside of this little neighborhood here, and again, let me pull this back and just show you because this is going to look way different. This is 2022, so this is right now. And then this is what we're going to look at in 2014. So just kind of get you visually prepared when you go out there and fish this lake. So here we are in 2014. Or sorry, we said 2016, didn't we? I guess it doesn't matter. They're all the same image. But we went over here, and here's the Texas Park and Wildlife Fish Attractor, which we can't see, but we're hoping it's there. We got a couple ramps that are over here. Again, this is really shallow stuff. So, you can maybe mess around with these ramps that are here, but I don't know if they're worth your time. You may want to check this out here, though. If you look and you get further off the bank out here, you actually have some little scattered rock piles. So check that out. That could be some debris in there as well. And then as we go up on this island, I'm not seeing too much on the top of the island, any kind of rock piles or anything like that. But if you scan around enough, you'll eventually run into them and you can actually see them. So right here, this is where the hard spot is out off the side of this island. There's also another hump that's out here, even creating a little saddle right in this area with some really good rock as well. So I can see those 2 spots being very productive spots around this island. Now, as we move further over here, we get off more towards the tip of the island, there's a foundation that's out here. So if I zoom in really close, you'll see it. I think this is a foundation. It's either a foundation or it is some type of an old hog pen or something like that. But you can tell there's definitely some good rock, good hard area right in there. So go check that spot out. I can see that one being good. Possible community hole if everybody knows that it's there. As we move on down through here, we kind of look at the edges of these points and things. I didn't see too much until you got back in this pocket. And right in here, you've got some really good rock. So again, that looks totally different. If I pull that up to 2022, you're not going to have any clue that all this stuff is here. I mean, that foundation's way out there. You're going to look like you're out in the middle of the lake fishing. You're really not even fishing that deep. So coming back here, we're going to go back to 2016. Let's keep moving around the edge of the point. So here we are off the edge of the point. Didn't see too much out here. You do have a little hump out here, and humps are always good. To me, it's always better if the hump has some type of something hard around it, or not really even hard. Obviously, rock is great if it's on top of the hump, but if you have brush or some kind of cover around that hump, it makes it better. When they're just bare humps like this with no cover, they could still be productive, but they're probably not going to be as productive as some as your other humps might be. All right, so as we get further in here, though, let's go back up to this island. When we get in here, if you look really close, you kind of follow those little roads, which obviously you won't see the roads when it's all underwater. But if we zoom in here, there's like a little city in here. I'm going to say city. I'm going to say maybe just a little homestead. But you've got some debris that's right here, some kind of building or something going on there. A couple more little big pieces of debris right here. Obviously, it was big enough to where whoever's driving the vehicle here had to drive around it. And then up here, you can see what looks to be like the old foundations of a home or something like that. So you've got one right here, and you've got another one right there in that area as well. You got some more debris up here too. So anyways, go out here, check this out, look at those waypoints, and make sure you scan that whole area, because it looks like that has some potential for some really good fish habitat right in that area. Then moving down the point, I didn't see too much going along here. You've got a lot of ramps that you could go up and fish. So if they're on the shallow bite, definitely take advantage of all these ramps that are out there, because a lot of them are personal ramps, meaning that they're not going to be used that much, and so they're definitely going to be good areas to try to find fish. But for the most part, from what I'm seeing here, this is going to be more pull off a little bit and fish a little bit off the bank to get your more productive bites. You've also got a hump that's out here as well. So if we get way off this point, and again, if we pull this up to 2022, you don't even know this is out here. So you're going to have to look at your graph, pay attention to your graph where the waypoint is, and watch your contours as well. They're going to tell you that something's coming up. But let's go back to 2016. You can see this hump's way out here, all isolated by itself. So it looks like it has some potential. It has some kind of junk on top of it. That could just be because it was exposed there, but check it out. That also looks like maybe some shell beds right in there. It's kind of hard to tell. But anyways, look at that hump. At least go out and scan it. If it's this time of year when I'm doing the video, it's June right now, mid-June. It's definitely a good time to go out and start checking out the humps. All right, so as we move over here, another Texas Park and Wildlife fish attractor, you've got a pretty good little creek bed that comes through here. And as you look at this creek bed, you can actually see it right here. So right here off of that ledge. So really good area right in there. You've also got some rock piles right here, 3 of them, 4 different rock piles right there. So some real good isolated piles. And again, moving the water up, those are going to be a little bit offshore, but they're not going to be too deep. So I think those are going to be really good areas, especially those rock piles there being right off that point. I mean, being a rock pile, one, is great, but being off a point is even better. And being off a point close to a creek channel, that makes it 10 times better. So all these rocks right in here are going to be a really good place to look. If you know where this campground creek is, basically that's going to be the area that you're going to want to look at. All right, so as we move down away from that main lake point, a couple other things right in here. We've got another good little creek channel in here. Not seeing a lot of rock or anything like that, but pretty decent little creek channel you could check out. Another one going on right in here. Now, this is going to be tough. It's hard to say whether they're going to relate to these creek channels in this lake or not. You can go look and see. I mean, obviously a creek channel is a creek channel, and they're always going to be related to them. But in the lakes, at least around here in my area in Dallas, a lot of these creek channels are washed out completely, so they don't really exist anymore. But luckily on this image, you can tell there's still something there. So hopefully they'll still relate to them. But as you get over here on the edge of this creek channel, this could be a very productive spot as well. So let me zoom back out here to show you where it's at. So there's where we were. We're going to go right here, and here's that rock that's going to be right out here, right off this point. That looks like it could have some potential, especially being close to that creek channel over there and nothing else being over here at a lot of bare land. Anywhere we see these rock piles, like right here, some more hard spots, those are all going to be very productive spots just because there's nothing else in the area. As I move on further down and get more towards the end of this point, there's some pretty good stuff going on here. There's a little hump that's out here. I didn't mark it, didn't see too much on it, but right in here, I really like this area. Look at these rocks right here. Real good, big area of rocks that you could go search around and fish around. You could spend a day here just fishing all those rocks. You also have a lot of rocks right out here, some real isolated piles that you could check out. And again, if you look around it, it's just a bunch of sand. So you know those are going to be primo spots. And that spot right there, for example, is a main lake point with rock on it. I mean, that's about as good as you can get. You definitely need to go out there and check that out. Also, when we get out here, we also get another area that almost looks like maybe a possible little mini ledge or something like that. So I just wanted you to check it and see. There might not be anything there, but check it anyways. We've also got a creek channel that comes down through here. And as we look at that creek channel, we zoom in, we're going to find some interesting stuff. One, we got laydowns, but there's some hard spots in here. There's a hard spot right here. There's another hard spot right here as well. And so check out those. And then here we've got rock. Those could be those hard spots we're seeing too. So just some interesting areas right out there in the middle of that creek channel that I could really see holding some fish for you guys. All right, so let's swing around and let's go ahead and look and see what we have up here. In this section, basically the same type of thing we were seeing earlier, just some isolated rock piles. This all looks good fishing around this. What I like about this is these rocks, like they're positioning perfect off these points. This is a great like little secondary point. So imagine the fish coming in, they hang out here for a while, they do some feeding and stuff like that. And then they're either going to cut back in here and maybe hang out on one of these little points for a while and then eventually get back in this creek and do some spawning. Or they might say, hey, heck that, I'm going to go way back there. So they might come back here and set up on some of these points as they work their way back. And if they're going to set up on them, they're going to set up on the ones that have cover. Well, this point right here has the cover, so they can set up here and then they can migrate back into these pockets whenever they're ready to do their spawning. So you can definitely go check that out. As we move further up this little creek arm here, we've got different types of isolated rock piles. You've got one here, another one there, another rock pile there. You can see why I'm saying this is more, seems to be more of an offshore type of a lake, because if you get up on the land, there's not squat. But you pull off and all of a sudden you start seeing a lot of different covers. You got a ramp here, more rocks right in here as you can see them. Rocky, hard spots, more rock, another ramp. And then you've got this creek channel that comes around in here too. Well, if you look right here on this little bend, there's a real good hard spot right here around this bend, just right in this area. So I would put a lot of attention. If I was up here fishing in that area, I would put a lot of attention right there around those hard spots. And then again, let's go ahead and pull the water up. Let's just look at it, see when the water's up, that looks totally, completely 100% different than what we were looking at before. Then I'm not sure if we covered that brush pile that was up there. So I'm going to go back up there real quick, make sure we talked about it, because there is a brush pile right up here. And you can see it's right out in the middle. And there's also a pretty big rock or boulder or something right out there. Well, this is a great place for them to set up on. It's just outside of this dock. It's really close to the creek channel. So great spot for them to set up on. All right, so let's move back down because we already talked about that. There was a ramp up there too. We talked about all of that stuff. Let's keep moving down. And now we're back here more almost towards the, I guess, midway through the lake. Let's do a couple more. I think we're gonna have to do one more video on this thing because this lake is so huge, but let's keep working on it. So we got some rock right here. This looks great, man. Look at this off this point. You got these rock piles actually have really good shade. This is going to be a great place to try to find some offshore fish for sure. Really like the way that sets up. If we look over here off the edge of this point, we've got some isolated rock piles in here as well. And then moving down here, as we got the creek channels that come in, so you can see up here, we've got a creek channel coming this way. Another one coming up here. We've got some ramps that are close to those creek channels. We've got laydowns as well. So a real good laydown right in here. If I zoom in, you can see it's like an old telephone pole or something. Not sure what it is, but fish are going to relate to that, especially when they get close to those creek channels. Laydowns and cover like that, close to a creek channel is always money. Right here, you got a rock pile right out the edge, the mouth of that creek channel. Probably have some pretty decent ledges and things like that in that area as well. All of that looks really good. And then, of course, we just talked about that rock pile being out there off the edge of that point, which looks really, really good. So let's pull the water up and let's just see what those rock piles look like when the water's up. So, yeah, you're going to look like you're out here fishing in no man's land, but you're actually fishing on some really good rocky areas for you to be able to find some fish. All right, so I'm going to move this back to 2016 again. Let's keep moving down. Again, on the shoreline, not a lot going on, right? Not a lot of rock, not a lot of anything really, just maybe some personal ramps here and there, a couple ramps there, a couple of them here. But then if we get out here in the middle, right out here, it appears to be an old pond and maybe even part of a pond right in there too. But this looks like it's an old pond. And if you look on this side, it looks like it has a pretty good little like mini ledge or something like that. So you could go out here and check out this pond, see if you can find anything relating to that or around it. Also in the summertime, if that's a really, really deep spot and around all of that other shallow stuff, sometimes they'll go and they'll relate to that. Or in the wintertime when they're starting to pull up and you hit a cold snap, they may pull back to that deep spot. So definitely go and check that out multiple times a year and just see if the fish ever relate to that area. And then as you move over here, you've got a really good little rock pile going on right in here, or hard spot, and then just a pipe. And I know that looks weird that I would mark a pipe, but I'm telling you, those fish love to hang out around those pipes. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take us down to this creek channel. We'll end the video on that creek channel, and then what we'll do is we'll do one more video to finish up this lake, because it doesn't look like I'm gonna be able to finish it all in this video unless we want to make it about 45 minutes long, which we don't want to do. So let's keep going. We talked about the pipe and the rock. We've got a ramp that's over here as well. Lots of different ramps, lots of personal ramps. But like this, finally up on the shore, we finally get some sort of a rock pile. So this is gonna be more shallow stuff, 3, 4, 5 foot of water. But this looks pretty good right here. Coming off maybe a little edge of what you might call a point there. But you got some rock in there. And then when you get out here, this is when you get into the juicier stuff. Right here is a really good little small rock pile. And then if you get off the edge of this, there's a real good hard spot right out here. I love how this thing sets up. All kinds of, look, there's multiple rock piles out here too that I even missed. You got a couple over here too. So when you come out here and scan around, definitely just scan all around the outside of that point. And again, you're going to be throwing off when you go in the water. So you definitely want to get these waypoints. Go out to the site. I haven't even mentioned it yet. Go out to the site, simplisticfishing.com. I've got all of these waypoints for you for sale. You can pick them up. You can get them on an SD card, to where basically you just put the SD card in your graph, import them in, or you can have me just email them to you, which is the digital file option. I'll email them to you, and then you can take them and copy and paste them to an SD card of your own and put them into the graph. But either way, it puts all these waypoints on all of your graphs on the boat, and it will change the way you fish. So definitely go check it out, simplisticfishing.com. So let's go ahead and keep moving down. And let's see what else we can find. We talked about those rocks being there. We talked about that rock pile, another rock pile out there. We were going to move it out. That's right. I keep forgetting. I was right in the middle of the conversation. So let's move this out to 2022. And now you can see these rocks that were out there, they don't show up at all, but this little rock pile up in here, it did. So this could be a real good shallow spot for you to go check out for sure. All right, so I'm gonna move this back to 2016. We're gonna keep going. It's funny because when you see this, you think that that would show up, not that one. And of course, that's the one that shows up. So here's this creek channel back here. Not a lot going on. Some pretty good little turns and things, but nothing crazy. But I do like this hard spot right in here and right in here. These two little kind of miniature ledges that are going on back there. You've also got some other stuff up here. You got a couple ramps. Outside of this dock, I don't know if they've cut this out or what, but look at the shade lines right in there. Pretty interesting stuff. Don't know what it is. That's why I just said check it. And then if you go out here, there's also a pipe that runs all the way down through where all that's cut out. There's a pipe that runs all the way through there. So you may want to go there, scan it, and just see if they're relating to that pipe. They could be anywhere on it. It goes in that entire cove over there. All right, so let's move on. Let's see what else we can find. Another little isolated little island. And then, of course, we're going to end. I said move on, but we need to cut this one off so we have enough time for the video next time. So we'll end this right here at Texas Park and Wildlife Fish Attractor number 12. And when I come back, we're going to start there. We are actually going to finish Lake Buchanan. We're going to start at 12, work our way down to the dam. That will seal everything off. And then we're going to switch over and take a quick look at it from a navionics standpoint and just see if there's anything else that we couldn't see by the water being drawn down that might still be an attractive place for us to look to go find fish. So go out, check out the site, simplisticfishing.com. Get your waypoints. It's not just for this lake. I've got about 70 other lakes out there to choose from in the state of Texas. It will change the way you fish. Until next time, hope you catch your PB. Take it easy.